Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. So tonight, inshallah, we're going to continue the next chapter, which is the chapter of removing impurity and the fiqh related to that. So first to begin, this chapter is one of the most important chapters because if a Muslim learns fiqh in general, and specifically these kind of chapters, then it makes his religious life much easier. Because here there's so many people who they avoid things because they think it is impure. They think it is impure or they think it is haram. So they avoid things. Or they are extra in how they think a thing should be cleaned and how they think a thing should be cleaned. So they wash it multiple times, over and over, taking time. Meanwhile, it was sufficient to have done just a couple of those things. But they didn't know the fiqh, so they did much more and they went beyond what they needed to do. So knowing these clean chapters helps with such masab. Knowing these kind of chapters help with such masab. So the Shaykh says, وَيَكْفِي فِي غَسْلِ النَّجَاسَاتِ عَلَى الْبَدَنِ أو الثَّوْبَ وَالْبُقْعَ. The Shaykh says that it suffices when it comes to washing impurities of the body, the clothing, or your place of prayer, or anything else. He says, أَتَزُولَ عَنِ الْمَحَلِ, that impurity is removed, that impurity is not present anymore on the place that it was on. When we say on the place that it was on, it's referring to najasa hukmiyya. Because najasa ayniyya, the thing itself is impure. We'll come to it at the end of the chapter, inshallah. So it's najasa hukmiyya because the impurity came onto the pure thing and then it was clean, it was removed. He says because Allah Azza wa Jal and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not specify a specific manner to clean impurities or a specific number of times to clean impurities illa fi najasati al-kalb, except when cleaning the impurity of a dog. There that it stipulated that you do seven washings. One of those washings had sand in it. One of those washings had sand in it. So now let's break down what the Shaykh said. So the Shaykh said that it suffices to wash impurity, So here let's mention Osman has three masai. The first one is to wash. So we spoke about in the lesson of water about washing impurity, about water being the main washing of impurity and the benefit or the pluses that water has compared to if you clean impurity with something under that water. So what we mentioned there is exactly, here's the place where it's outlined. So therefore, in summary, to say it again in a different manner, there's two ways to clean. There's two situations when you clean something. If you clean the impurity, whatever you use to clean, if the entire impurity is cleaned, no trace, smell, taste or color is left, then we say that suffices. So whatever you use, water or not water, anything that you use, if there is no remnants of the impurity, it suffices. If you did not use water and you use something else and there was remnants, then here you have to use water. Here you have to use water to clean it out. Then if you used water and there was a remains of color or smell, or taste in those things that you can taste. Though when it comes to taste, the fuqaha say those things that are edible, if impurity went on them, you had a bag of rice there and some impurity went on it, we then speak of what's impure. They say you don't need to actually taste to detect its impurity is gone. It suffices to be relatively sure. They say غلبة الظن. This is what Labadi says in his Hashia. غلبة الظن. So that's number one. So number two, if there is a remainder of color or smell and you used water and it seems to not get cleaned, you try to clean it, you washed it, as we're going to mention, or as we mentioned before how to wash, and the impurity doesn't go, then here it is overlooked. Because you used water. And another something specific to water is that you do not need to wash the impurity a specific amount of times. Because you used water. Except in one situation or two, which is with the dog. With the dog, you should use water and you wash a specific amount of times. Then, we mentioned in the previous lesson of answering the core of nature that there's 4 categories. The highest one is dalk, the second one is ghasl, the third one is nadh or ghamr, and the fourth one is mas. We explained those terms in the previous lesson. So now we said that the third level, the second strongest method of cleaning is ghasl. So when you do ghasl, that means, as we said, the water must be removed from the area that it is on. Either itself, it flows out, or it flows on top or down. It's on a body part that's in wudu, or if you're cleaning like the floor, it must flow up or down, or you could squeeze the thing if the thing can be squeezed without damaging what you are cleaning. The water is drained out, or its container, you pour the water out, etc. So when it comes to ghasl, we said if ghasl does not do the job, we say like that, it's either it's impurity or it's bahar in terms of wudu or ghusl, then you have to do dalk. Then you have to do dalk with your hand or another body part. Not another body part, but with your hand or something else. Or maybe you're trying to clean a piece of clothing, so then you rub 2 pieces with clothing on together, or you use a stick or something to remove the impurity. We said there's 4 categories. There's 4 levels. Dalk is the highest level. So therefore, if you are trying to clean impurity and water is not doing the job, and then you did dalk, and still the impurity is not coming out, then here it is overlooked. Therefore, if you were to take something else, a cleaning agent or soap or something to clean the impurity, and it won't go, it will be completely clean, we say it's not a big. You do not need to do that. That if you want to, then you can do it. Otherwise, the most you do is dalk. Anything beyond dalk is overlooked. So that's an important masala to know. And then our last masala before we get started is impurities. When cleaning them, they divide into 3 categories. The fuqaha call it al-najasa al-mughallada, al-najasa al-mukhaffafa, and al-najasa al-mutlaqa or al-mutawassita. So you have major impurity, you have minor impurity, and the third category is in between the two. Al-najasa al-mutlaqa, or some of them call it al-mutawassita. In fact, some of the phrase mutawassita, yes, some call it mukhlaqa. So those 3 categories. And the cleaning is different for all 3 categories. The major impurity, that is impurity of a dog. I will explain now is become 3. And also a pig. There you have to clean with water and 7 washings. One of those washings must be with soil. One of those washings must be with sand or soil or something similar that I'm mentioning just now. We come to it. Number 2, najasa mukhaffafa, the minor impurity. That is 2 things. Number 1, it is the urine of a baby boy. You're gonna come to an exact picture just now. The urine of a baby boy who hasn't yet eaten food, meaning he doesn't yet desire food. So the urine of the baby boy or the vomit of the baby boy, that is minor impurity. That you clean it, you doing nub. You clean it doing nub. So you just pour water, not sprinkle like splash, that you pour water on the area. And the water doesn't need to be squeezed out or anything to complete the ghasl. No, the water is still in the area. If the impurity goes, it's clean. And you don't need any amount. You do not need to wash the impurity with any amount. You just pour water on the area and that suffices. And the second impurity is madi. That's this riwayah in the method. The madhab doesn't deem madi as a minor impurity. But the second opinion is that madi is minor impurity. So you clean madi, and what madi has gone onto through your clothes, from your clothes, whatever it's gone onto your clothes, whichever part of your clothes madi has gone onto, you can clean it with nadh. So you just pour some water on it, and there's no reminisce, then done. That's enough. And that won't suffice. And no special thing you can do with one pouring of water on it, that is part of nadh. Then you have in between those two, that najas, the middle najas, mutawassita or mutlaq. That najasa you can clean in any way. You can clean in any way. Also, the lower category of najasa, the mukhaffafa, you can clean in any way. But if you were to use water, then you do nabh. You do nabh suffices. And the same with mutlaqa. The same with the category. You can clean in any way. But if you were to use water, then you do ghasl. Then you do ghasl. Or you can clean it anyway. If the thing went away, it's fine. If you didn't, then you have to apply ghasl for those rules to come up to where you need the number. And also the remains been overlooked. It has to do with ghasl. So those are an important masail to know, as we have them as an intro to the following masail. So the Shaykh says impurity on the body, on the clothing, and on the place of salah or other methods. So let's mention these things. So they spoke about impurity. It's not wajib to stay away it's not wajib to clean impurity if you are not going to pray salah, or those actions that are connected to salah, or those actions connected to salah, but tawaf, like sajda sahw, etc., like sajda tilawa, etc. And it's only mustahab. It's mustahab, especially because you may forget. You may have impurity on some clothing that you're wearing from the morning, and then you forget to clean it, and then you pray salah. So then we'd say the salah is valid according to the riwayah Fahmiyya, which is the opinion of most of the Madhab. In fact, with the Madhab says it's just not valid if you forgot impurity. They differentiate between not knowing impurity was on your clothing and forgetting impurity on your clothing. But we say that it's mustahab to clean impurity when it's on these three places mainly that's connected to your salah. Other than that, mostly for usage, as we mentioned last time, what type of usage. Otherwise, it's not, you don't need to clean the impurity, it's mustahab and to clean the impurity. So we have to mention, so that's with regards to other than the three things connected to salah, which is your body, your clothing, and your place of salah. Then anything else, the wall, etc., you can clean the impurity. It doesn't affect your salah, so you can clean it, you can leave it, it's okay. But if you were to clean it, then for sharia purposes, then we mentioned how. We mentioned the fiqh related to it. Then we mentioned the Shaykh says your body. So we're going to mention these masail now, before we come to salah. So when it comes to the body of a person praying salah, what is meant by body? What is meant by the body in salah is a person's actual body. With regards to the body, it is one's actual body. That should be clean. A person's actual body should be clean when it comes to salah. Then the clothing. When it comes to clothing, then this is everything a person is wearing, number one. Everything a person is wearing. So therefore, if a person is wearing more than one layer, and the outer layer that's not actually physically touching his body, it has impurity. Like he's wearing a jacket and there's impurity on the jacket. It's not actually touching his actual skin. We say that must be clean. If a person is wearing a shirt and there's impurity on the outer side of the shirt, so it's not actually on the inside, right to his body, you say that should be clean as well. And they connect to a body, something connected to a person. Something connected to a person. So the Paha mentioned, like a person has a rope connected to his hand. And on the end of the rope, far away, is something impure. And that salah will be invalid. But if a person has a dog, for example, that he's allowed to have, and he's gone to take the dog for a walk, and he's praying salah, and he decides to pray salah, but he's got the dog on the leash. So he prays salah while holding the leash. So the leash may not affect in terms of the salah, in terms of salah, in terms of the movements, etc. May not even go from that angle. But he has the dog at the end of the leash. So since he's holding the leash, or the leash is tied around his hand, we say he's praying on impurity. Therefore, salah would be invalid. The salah would be invalid. Or another situation, a person is in the hospital, and he's got something connected to him, where, for example, urine collects in a bag that's connected to his body. If a person has, during the time of salah, the waqt of a salah, if he is able to remove that thing that is connected to him, so he can pray without the urine bag connected to him, then we say he should do that, he has to do that. Otherwise, he'd prayed while having impurity, even though it's not on his body, but it's connected to him. If he's not able to remove it the whole time of salah, or he can pray with it, that's overlooked. But in general, that would be deemed praying with impurity. That would be deemed praying with impurity. The last thing is your place of salah. Your place of salah. Your buq'ah. Your place of salah. What is deemed the place of salah is every part of the place a person's prayer on, every part of it that the person's body will touch while he is inside. Every part of the place of prayer, whether it's a prayer mat, whether it's the floor, that his body will touch while he's inside. So you look at from the heels, from your heels, from the heel to the top of your forehead, the top of your head, right? From there to there lengthways, and then where your arms will go in sajda. Where you place your arms in sajda, and also, so that whole area should be tni. Not the whole area specifically, but in general. What do we mean by that? That means that a person is going to be standing inside, his feet should be on something clean. When he sits in salah, his knees and his legs should be underneath something clean. When he puts his hands in sajda, his palms should be beneath something clean. Same with his hands. But let's say he has impurity under his chest while he's in sajda. Below his chest there's impurity. We say that will not invalidate the salah. That is overlooked because he is not touching it while in salah. Even though it is in his place of prayer, his salah is fine because the impurity is not touching the impurity on his buqa. His buqa is basically his place of prayer, but not just the place of prayer, the place that his body parts will touch in the salah. Therefore, if he's praying salah on a prayer mat, and on the one side, the corner of the prayer mat, there's impurity. But where he's praying, there's no impurity. The impurity is on the corner, like the drops of blood or urine there. We say salah is fine. Even though the musalla that he put down to pray out is impure on the one corner and on another corner, but the space where he is praying, the space where he's touching while he is praying, all of that is pure, all of that is clean, there's no impurity underneath it. We say his salah is valid. We say salah is valid. So those are very important mas'ala. The next mas'ala, the Shaykh spoke about that because there's no specification in the Sharia of how many times to wash impurity except for when washing a dog. So by washing a dog, a person has to wash the impurity 7 times, and one of the times with soot. Okay, let's focus on that mas'ala because that's what the hadith says. Ya Bukhari and Muslim. So the fuqaha say that the entire dog is impure. So the hadith says wulugh إذا ولغ الكلب. If a dog basically drinks, the wulugh is to put your mouth into a container and move it. So basically the dog drinks from a container. That container should be washed 7 times. One of those times with soil. Also, if a dog were to urinate or stool on some place, you have to wash it 7 times with soda. Even the Shaykh says najasatul kalb, the entire dog is impure. Even the sweat of a dog would be impure. You have to wash it 7 times, 1 time with soil, 1 of the times with soil. And also the hair of a dog is impure. So if you went into something with wetness, that means the najasa would have transferred. So you have to wash that thing 7 times, 1 of the times with soil. The hair itself on something dry, najasa will not transfer. So therefore, we look at that. So then the madhab applies something called qiyas awlawi. In fact, they put qiyas al-musawi as well, but we'll focus on qiyas only. So qiyas awlawi is when there's analogy. There are 2 things that are similar to each other, so we connect the rules to each other. That's a very, very loose explanation of qiyas. So basically, the fuqaha say that what is more impure than a dog? They say a pig. So they say, since we have to wash impurity of a dog 7 times, 1 of the times with soy, and a dog, it's permissible a person or a Muslim to make use of a dog in 3 situations. The Sharia has allowed it. As for a pig, it is completely pure, and there's no situation where the Sharia allows usage of a pig. Therefore, it is more impure. So if you have to wash 7 times the impurity of a dog with water, with soil, then we're going to apply that as well to a pig. So the impurity of a pig, the entire pig, exactly as we explained for a dog, you have to wash the impurity of a pig 7 times, 1 of the times with soil. Then they apply another qiyas hawla. And they say, that you're washing the container 7 times, one of the times with soil. They say that there's a reason for it. Because some fuqaha say that the reason for soil is ta'abbudi, that the reason is not really understood. It's just a guidance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so we follow it. We don't dig deeper. There's no actual apparent wisdom here. But other fuqaha say no, there's a wisdom here. Soil, the usage of salt is because of the cleaning benefits in salt. It will clean something more than just water alone. So therefore, we look at what has properties of soil, cleaning strength. We say soap and detergents, etc. So therefore, if you were to clean the impurity of a dog or a pig 7 times with water, and one of those washings was with soap or detergent, etc., then that would do the job of soil. That would do the job of soil. And when you clean with soil or with soap, when I mention soil, but fuqaha say the soil must reach the entire impurity. It must reach the entire impurity, and it must beat the entire impurity with water. So you don't throw the soil and then pour water afterwards. Though Ibn Muflih says that suffices. So maybe we can allow it. It's at the situation where we can say it suffices. But the madhab is that you take the soil, you mix it with the water, and then you pour it on the area, or you pass it on the area. It was go through the whole impurity. If using soil or a detergent on this piece of clothing or this piece of, or the whatever impurity is on, it would harm the clothing, then in this case the fuqaha say yakfil musam, that you can just take the slightest amount of soil, put it in the water, so that it as if you use soil. So you applied the hadith, you did what you did, but it's so little that it's as you just used it. You didn't use it properly. Benefits of soil may not be there because you use so little, but you used it. So you're applying hadith and you clean it with that. And someone can say if even that might not help, then you just use water. You can just use water. So that's with regards to cleaning the impurity of the dog and what's connected to a dog. Then the next mas'ala, the Shaykh says, wal ashya najisa. The Shaykh says that the things that are impure. So we said the asl of everything is tahar. So therefore, things that are impure, there are a specific amount. So here the Shaykh mentions most of them. A few things he hasn't mentioned, but most of them he's mentioned. So he says, when the Shia najisa, the impure things, he says, bawl al-adam, wa'adiratu. He says, urine and stool of a human. Urine and stool of a human, that is completely impure. But a small amount of urine for a person who has incontinence, urine incontinence, that is overlooked. We'll mention the fifth of that when we come to nifas, inshallah, when we come to the chapter of hate. So if a person, he did what he cleaned himself after using the bathroom, and then he knows he has incontinence, so then he put something, cleaned himself properly, and did what he needed to do to basically try his best to prevent the impurity from coming onto his clothing with tissue or something. And then it messed still, urine came out onto his clothing, then a small amount of it is then overlooked. So then the Shaykh says, wait them. The Shaykh says the next thing that is impure is blood. Except that a small amount of blood is overlooked. He says also الدم المسبوح من الحيوان. So دون الذي يبقى في اللحم والعروق إن يمطعن. Okay, so the Shaykh says that blood is impure. Blood is impure except a small amount is overlooked. And also the blood that is impure is when you slaughter an animal, or you're hunting and you basically do not get to slaughter an animal, but you shoot or you pierce an animal. That blood that comes out when you slaughter, that is the dam al-maspuh, that is impure blood as well. He says, except the blood that remains in the veins of an animal or the meat of an animal, that is overlooked. That is pure. That's an important point. That it is pure. So, to break down what the Shaykh said, he says that blood is impure. Okay, except that a small amount is overlooked. So let's mention let's categorize the section. So blood, there's 3 rules that connect to blood. There's blood that is impure, blood that is pure, and blood that is impure. So two categories of impure, one that is pure. So the first category of impure, a small amount of it is overlooked. A small amount of it is overlooked. Second category, blood that is pure. Blood that is pure. So that is pure. And the third category, impure, no amount of blood is overlooked. No amount of blood is overlooked. So if we were to start, we say blood that is pure. Blood that is pure is the blood of those animals, those insects that don't have blood circulation. Those insects that don't have blood circulation, like flies, mosquitoes, etc. Those insects, for example, we bring salah and then you hit a mosquito, and that blood that came up, or any part of the fly or mosquito that came out while you're in salah, all of it is pure. The whole animal itself is pure, and whatever that you see, the redness of it, or a yellowness that's similar to blood, or blood for those animals, that blood is pure. That blood is deemed pure, so your salah is perfectly fine. The second type of blood that is pure is blood of a fish. Blood of a fish that is pure. So blood of a fish, while whether the fish is alive or dead, is pure. The third type of blood that is pure is blood of a shaheed. Blood of a shaheed is pure. As long as the blood is on the shaheed, on the body of the shaheed, that blood is pure. The fourth type of blood that is pure is blood that remains in the veins or the meat of an animal that is slaughtered, a halal animal. They say, the fuqaha say that even if you cook that piece of meat and there is blood that is in, let's say, a broth, there's blood that comes out of the veins or the meat that you cooked, and that blood is visible in the broth, they say you can eat it because it's pure. You can eat it as well, you can drink it, you can eat it. That blood is pure. So but you don't need to remove that out of thinking it is impure, that blood in the veins of a animal or within the meat of the animal, the actual flesh. So there's those blood, there's four types of blood that is pure. That is pure. The second type of blood is blood that is impure, but a small amount of it is overlooked. A small amount of it is overlooked. And that is blood that comes out from something that is pure. Something that is pure. So they say animals that are pure. Animals that are pure, we mentioned it before, halal animals, along with animals the size of a cat and smaller. Blood from those animals or humans is impure, but a small amount is overlooked. Except blood that comes from the front or back private part of a human. Except blood that comes from the front or back private part of a human, that blood is impure, or as we said, but it's not overlooked. It's not small amount of it is not overlooked. Except hayd or nifas. Hayd blood or nifas blood that comes from a figure. So the female, she has a place where urine comes out, a place where stool comes out, and a place where the male private part enters. Hayd and nifas from where the male private part enters, that is the blood that is overlooked as well. That blood is overlooked as well. Blood from the other two parts are not overlooked. Blood from the other two parts are not overlooked. Then number 3 is blood that is impure, as we said, but also it's not overlooked. And that is blood that comes from animals that are impure. Animals that are impure, or from the front or back private part that we just mentioned now. That is blood that is impure is mentioned, and also a small amount of it is not overlooked. Small amount of it is not overlooked. So when we say a small amount of blood is overlooked, what do we mean? What is the amount, the quantity that is deemed a small amount of blood? So we say that the fuqaha say that the amount of blood that does not break wudu, because the fuqaha say that if a small amount of blood breaks wudu, that comes out of a person, that small amount does not break wudu, that same amount is overlooked for a person when they have blood that is overlooked. That quantity of blood on their body or clothing or buq'ah that is overlooked in the ibadah that needs a person to be free from impurity. So that is Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. He says about the blood, he says ما فحش في نفس كل أحد. He said the amount of blood that breaks the wudu, which is the same amount that is not overlooked, is the blood, he says ما فحش في نفس كل أحد. What each person themselves, they deem a large amount. What they deem a large amount, that is the blood that breaks wudu, and that is also the blood that is not overlooked. That is not overlooked with regards to tahara.
Therefore, we exclude. Therefore, for example, if a person is praying salah and then let's say he had a pimple, so then he bust the pimple and blood came out. That blood would probably be a small amount. So we say his salah is valid. Even though there's impurity, we say that impurity is overlooked. It's from a human, and also that's overlooked type of blood, and the amount is overlooked. It's a small amount. And we say every person to themselves. So we exclude two people. Number one is a person with waswasa. A person with waswasa, because he'd see a small drop and he'd think it's a large amount. So we don't look at what a person with waswasa deems a small or large amount. Also, we don't look at what a person who deals a lot with blood, what that person deems a large or small amount. Because that person may deem what most people deem a large amount, he may deem it a small amount, because he's so used to dealing on touching blood. Because let's say he slaughters a lot or works in a butchery, etc. Or somebody who has constant nosebleeds, etc. That person may deem a large amount of blood a small amount. So other than those two, every person themselves, what they deem a large amount is the blood that breaks the wudu, and also is the blood that is not overlooked. And what they deem a small amount is overlooked for impurity and also for wudu.
So the Shaykh says, and from amongst the impurities are urine and stool from animals that are haram to eat. Animals that are haram to eat. And then the Shaykh says, وَالسِّبَاءُ كُلُّهَا نَجِسَةٌ. The predators, whether from birds or animals, birds or predators other than birds, they are called the entire animal is impure. The entire animal is impure. Then, so connected to this, then later the Shaykh says that as for urine and stool of animals that is halal to eat, then that is pure. That is pure. The Shaykh says it a few lines later. So let's just connect the two. So when it comes to animals, we can say there's 3 or 4 categories. 3 or 4. Okay? 3 and 4. So number 1, it is animals that are halal to eat. Animals that are pure. Let's say animals that are pure. And so that means halal to eat, and also the size of a cat and similar. Then you have animals that are haram to eat, and they are haram to eat, but they're all bigger than a cat. They're all bigger than a cat. Then the third one is your predators from the birds or from non-birds, not non-bird birds. So when it comes to animals that are halal to eat, we can say halal to eat. Then another category of pure animals are those that are the size of the cat and smaller, that you are not allowed to eat, but they are pure. So that's how it gets to 4. That's how it's to 4. So animals that you are allowed to eat, their urine, their stool, their vomit, their milk, their mani, their madhi, their wadi, their sweat, their saliva, all of it is pure. All of it is pure. The only thing impure from them is blood. The only thing impure from them is blood, and also what is connected to blood, just like humans, blood, and also what comes from blood. That's what the Fuqaha say. But so like pus, blood and pus, etc. Those things that come from blood, that is impure. That is impure, but a small amount is overlooked from pure animals. Okay. The second one are those animals that are haram to eat. Let's mention those first. Those animals that are haram to eat, and they are bigger than a cat. Bigger than a cat. Yeah, haram to eat and bigger than a cat. So those animals, their urine, their stool is impure. Their saliva impure. Their sweat impure. All their milk impure. Their mani impure. All of it connected to the animal, it's impure. Except from a donkey and a mule. From a donkey and a mule, 4 things are pure. That is the saliva, the hair, and the sweat, and also the remainder of what they've eaten. So if they've eaten from something or they've drunk from something, it's called a soul. Then that doesn't make it impure. You can go and eat after them, or you can drink after them. A donkey and a mule. The reason for that is because the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they used to ride donkeys. They used to ride donkeys about. So when you ride a donkey, you're touching their sweat and you're touching their hair, etc. And perhaps their saliva as well. And there's no evidence that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told the Sahaba to clean anything from it. So that's why the donkey and the mule are an exception to the rule. So we said that a donkey and a mule are an exception to the. So what's pure from them is their saliva, their sweat, their supper, the remainder of what they eat or drink, and the hair, and also what comes out of their nose. What comes out of their nose. Then, so that's with regards to animals that are bigger than a cat and are haram to eat. So they are impure animals. Then we said sibara, so predators from birds and also other than bird. That the entire animal is impure. The entire animal is impure, and everything that comes out of the animal is impure. Everything that comes out of the animal is impure. So saliva, all of it is impure. Then our last thing are those animals that are pure but haram to eat. So that is a cat, and what is from an animal that is a cat and smaller than a cat. They are pure while alive, but they are haram to eat. So what's pure and impure from these animals? From these animals, what is deemed pure is their saliva. Their saliva and their sweat. Their saliva, their sweat, and the remains after they eat. The saliva and the sweat and the remains after they've eaten the soup. So if a cat were to come drink from your water, that water still be deemed tahur or tahir. Tahur, in the sense that you can use it for wudu, you can use it for ghasl, etc. And you can drink from it. The fuqaha say, even if the animal, the cat or the rat, etc. ate something impure, they also include the child. If a child ate something impure, and whether that impurity was still visible in the mouth or already swallowed and there's no trace left, and it went in the animal or the child went to eat from something, they took a bite of something that you're eating, or drank from the glass that you're drinking from, it does not make that thing impure. You can still go drink after that or eat the remains of what they eat. So that's important to remember from the animals that are haram to eat, but they are deemed pure in life. Therefore, the urine and stool of those animals that are halal to eat, or the blood of animals that are haram to eat but are pure, it's impure. The urine and stool from animals that are haram to eat, but they themselves are pure while alive, the urine and stool is impure. Blood obviously it's impure, and other things that come out of the animal, milk is impure, sweat impure, etc. In fact, I think I said sweat is also impure. On the animals that are pure but haram to eat, the sweat is actually pure as well. Then the next mas'ala, the Shaykh says, illa maytat al-adami, that the maytah of the adami, if a human has died, then the dead human is deemed pure still. Whether Muslim or not Muslim. Non-Muslim. And then the Shaykh says, وَمَا لَا نَفْسَ لَهُ سَخِيرٌ, and also those insects or those creatures that don't have like full blood circulation, and insects or animals that don't have a full blood circulation, those animals are also, the entire animal is deemed pure. With regards to humans, that's with regards to a human dead. But we're going to mention a few connected to a human just now. وَالسَّمَكَ وَالْجَوَادْ فَإِنَّهَا طَاهِرَةٌ. Also, a fish, alive or dead, is pure, and also jawad, which is a locust, is pure, alive or dead. And we mentioned, I missed one sentence. وَكَذَلِكَ الْمَيْتَاتِ إِنَّ مَيْتَةَ الْأَدِكِ. The Shaykh says that Maytah is impure and therefore haram to eat, except for the Maytah of the Adam, except for a dead human. So Maytah are those animals that are haram to eat. Even if they are slaughtered properly, they are haram to eat, they are deemed Maytah. Or they are animals that are halal to eat, but they've not been slaughtered, or they've been slaughtered in a non-shari'i manner. So if they are slaughtered in a non-shari'i manner, or they've not been slaughtered, or an animal that is haram to eat has been slaughtered correctly, or not, all of that is Maytah. And all of that is impure. And haram to eat. That leads us to a qa'idah that the fuqaha mentioned with regards to food, but we'll mention it inshallah in the chapter of food inshallah. And so then the delil for Maytah bil haram, Allah says, حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةُ وَالدَّمُ. Allah says that Allah has made haram upon you Maytah, to consume it, and also dam, and also blood, And Rasulullah said, "Al-mu'min la yanjisu hayyan wa la mayta." That a believer does not become impure while alive or dead. That's our delay for the previous person. The hadith says the mu'min, that the believer does not become impure while alive or dead. So this description of the believer, the fuqaha say this is a description that they call the work was fardi in usool. That basically means it's a description that its presence or its absence, it makes no difference. The presence of this description does not affect the rule. So a common example the fuqaha give in books of usool, where they say, for example, that man who had intercourse with his wife in the day in Ramadan. So the narrator says that a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu Abu Qara narrates this hadith. He doesn't merely say a man, he says a Bedouin man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he described the man as a Bedouin man. So do we specify this rule to a Bedouin man? The answer is no. So the description of the man as a Bedouin man, that word Bedouin, its presence or its absence is the same in terms of the rule. The rule, that description has no effect. So the same here, what we're getting at, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants to say is meaning that a human is pure, alike or dead. But there's a reason why he referred to it as mu'min, and that's what discussed in the books of usool. So when it comes to a human, we can say a human divides into three categories: the lower part of a human, the middle part of a human, and the upper part of a human. So when it comes to the lower part of a human, there's things that come out from the front and back part. Those things are impure. Except a few things. We mentioned wind in the previous lesson, mentioned like a child that's come out with no blood on it, etc. It's pure. And sperm, many is pure. Also connected to that, so many is pure, but most other things are impure. Also we say that vaginal discharge that comes out of a female just without anything else, that blood on it, that is pure. The delete is coming just now, that is impure. The rest, most other things are deemed impure. And from the upper part of a human, whether it is saliva, sweat, you can connect sweat as well, whether it is phlegm that comes out, whether it is what comes out of the nose also of a human, also what comes out of the mouth when a person is asleep, etc. So phlegm from the chest or from the head, even if the color is changed, all of that is pure. All of that is pure from a human, from a Muslim or non-Muslim. Even the saliva of a non-Muslim is deep pure. If a non-Muslim drank from something, you can drink after. If you ate from something, you can eat directly after. It's pure. Then what comes from the middle of a human, and that is vomit. Vomit is impure. And also blood, we can say, let's through the whole way. Blood is impure, vomit is impure. So that's connected to a human. Then the Shaykh mentions the date for some of the other masail he mentioned. He said that Rasulullah said that two types of Maytah is halal for us and two types of blood is halal for us. And that is, the two types of Maytah is fish, all animals that live in the ocean or mainly live in the ocean. So let's just say animals from the ocean that live most of the time or all the time in the ocean, their Maytah is halal. Whether you have taken it out of the ocean alive and it died, or it's already dead in the ocean and floated up, or didn't float up, you got it from the ocean, it is halal. It is halal and pure. Then jarad. Jarad is a locust, and the locust is also halal even if you got it only dead, even if you only dead already. Then daman, and two types of blood. The two types of blood is kabid, which is liver, and tihal, or you can say, some say it's more afsah to say tuha, which is spleen. That is the evidence that those two types of blood are halal and pure. Then the next line the Shaykh mentions that urine and stool from animals that can be eaten. We mentioned that already. Then the Shaykh says that sperm of a human is pure. Because human comes from sperm as well. So that the starting point of creation is pure. And Rasulullah, the evidence for it, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يغسل رطبه ويفرق يابسه. Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم, if the sperm was still moist, he used to wash it off, and if it was dry, he used to just like scrape it off. And if it was impure, he would have washed it, because scraping still leaves remains on it. It still remnants. So if it was impure, you have to wash it. You have to clean the remnants completely off. But he used to just scrape it off. Just scrape like whatever is like it has a gibber, it has like portion to it. You can just scrape it off. Then the final couple of masalin, the Shaykh says, وَبَوْلُ الْغُلَامِ الصَّغِيرِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَأْكُلِ الطَّعَامَ بِشَهْوَةٍ يَكْفِيهِ النَّظْرُ. Also, the Shaykh says that a baby boy that has not yet eaten food, not yet is desiring food, if that baby boy urinated or connected to urine is vomit on an area, then you, as we mentioned in the beginning, you do not need to wash it. Nadh suffices. Nadh suffices. What we explained nadh before. So this is a boy that has not eaten food, meaning from his own choice and his own wishing. From his own choice and his own wishing, his own desire to eat food. It doesn't mean he is not being fed solids or something other than milk. Because when a child is born, that is already done tahniq. So the child may have already tasted dates or honey, etc. And sometimes honey or something is added to milk, or the child is fed not by something that's not milk, but not by the child of these are the, it's not his main milk, is not his main meal anymore. That boy, the urine of such a boy is impure. To clean it, you just do nabh. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, يُغْسَلُ مِنْ بَوْلِ الْجَارِيَةِ وَيُرَشُّ مِنْ بَوْلِ ذُونَا. That from a urine of a female baby. That baby, a female baby, irrespective whether what's the baby eating, the female lady, if it's milk or not milk, you have to wash it. And from a boy, you can do nabh. Another hadith, the narrator says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he did nabh to the urine, and he didn't do ghasl. So one of the reasons is that in the past they didn't have what we have today, but diapers where the urine would be in one place. So a boy were to urinate, it could splash, or he could urinate and he could dirty a large area, a large surface area. So to clean it actually properly, to do ghasl, and then could be very difficult. So out of ease, you can do nabh. And for a female, the urine would be in one place. That's one of the wisdoms mentioned. So the fuqaha say that if the child, as long as the child's main food is milk, even if it is a very long period of time, or there's no other solids, and that's why the child was continuously drinking milk, still too, this rule applies. Then the last sentence, the Shaykh says, وَإِذَا زَالَتْ عَيْنُ النَّجَاسَةِ طَبَوَتْ. That if the actual presence of the najasa is completely gone, then the base is clean. So connected to that, we said that najasa is the hukmiyya and ayniyya. So najasa hukmiyya, there's impurity on the table or on the clothing, and you've cleaned it properly, there's no remnants, we say it's clean, right? And if the najasa ayniyya itself were to also be transformed into something where there is no remnants of the original form of impurity, we say it's pure. Let's call istihalah. It's called istihalah. So where this impurity, you have impurity, it's now gone for a process and it's now completely changed. It's not what it was at first. There's no remnants of the original impurity that it was. It's now completely another object, another item or another thing, then that is pure. So we said when that najasa hukmiyya, however it's gone, whether you've left it out in the sun and the sun cleaned it out, or the wind cleaned it out, or you let's say drink it like tea and it messed on your clothing that had impurity on it, and when the thing dried, then you saw there's no impurity anymore. You say it's pure. It's clean, because the ayn najasa, the actual najasa, is cleaned. And also that's for najasa hukmiyya. Najasa ayniyya, if it's gone through a process, however it's gone through, that it's not that same impurity anymore. It's a completely new thing we say it's pure as well. We say it's pure as well. And we mentioned this because most fuqaha, when they speak of removing of impurities, they speak of clean najasa hukmiyya. And many of them say even the istihalah, it doesn't purify. But the Shaykh said istihalah purifies. Istihalah purifies. وَلَمْ يَطُرَّ بَقَاءُ اللَّوْنِ أَوْ الرِّيحِ. And if there is a remnants on color or smell, then it doesn't change the fact that it is pure. The reason for that is correct to what we mentioned at the beginning. And he says, كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ذي خولة في الدم. As Rasul, just because Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم sent to Khawla رضي الله عنها when it came to them, when it came to blood, يكفيك الماء ولا يضرك أثر. That water suffices for you. Water suffices to clean the blood. Water and also dalk if water is not enough. And if there's any remnants, where do we get dalk? From the hadith of Asma radiallahu anha, where she said, Ya Rasulullah, many of us had only one clothing. And if we enter it, sometimes it gets messed with hay blood. So how be it? So Rasulullah told her that what to see. He said to her, try kind of scrub it or scrape it also as you're pouring the water to remove the blood. Then if anything remains, then that does not change the fact that it's pure, that it is purified. And we end there. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.